Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso here on S3. Now, with winter season in full swing, we can feel it. In fact, I'm feeling it right now. We understand that ongoing battle of the skin, it's happening, especially for eczema-prone and dry skin. That's why we gave you the chance to ask a dermatologist anything you want to know about eczema and dry skin. And now it's time to find out those answers. So please lean in if you're one of those individuals. Let's welcome Dr. Lauren Knight as she provides some valuable insights into your skin and, of course, all of your queries. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, I'd love to ask some anecdotal questions, etc., but we actually have proper case studies that I want to run you through so you can answer. It's so nice to have a dermatologist here. I have questions too, but it's not about me. It's about Tlabane, who said this: what causes dry skin and what products can I use for dry skin? Nice and easy to start.
So, I mean, if we think about dry skin, it's essentially the loss of water from inside our cells to the outside environment. So we call transepidermal water loss. And this can really happen on the grounds of two things. So it's either a problem with your barrier. So if we think of our skin as a brick wall, our skin cells are our bricks, and the lipids between the cells are the cement. So your lipids, your cholesterol, your ceramides, this polyfiller between your cells. So there could be a barrier problem, and this could be an intrinsic problem. So do you have an underlying skin condition, eczema, rosacea, that results in barrier impairment, making your barrier leaky? Or is it something that you're doing to your barrier? So are you using harsh scrubs, washes, cleansers that are stripping those lipids out of your barrier? Or is it an environmental problem? So is it that it's now gotten colder, it's gotten drier, and you're increasing that gradient or flow of fluid from the inside of the cells to the outside, which is what we kind of transiently experience around the time of winter. And if we're looking at how we want to hydrate our skin, you're going to think along those same principles. So you could use more occlusive ingredients, so more ointment-based creams, which are going to be kind of a tent over your skin, locking in your moisture. Or you could be using ingredients that are going to draw water into the cells, so humectant ingredients, things like hyaluronic acid. Or you could think, am I going to be polyfilling my barrier? So there you're looking for ingredients that are replacing what's been lost. So moisturizers that containing your ceramides, your glycerol, your glycerine, decreasing the inflammation, looking after your microbiome, things like colloidal oatmeal. So I think that's a nice way to think about it. So try and identify what the problem is, what the problem could be, and then look for those ingredients to manage your dry skin.
Just to simplify that, Tabang, look after your brick wall. Cool, done. Let's move on. And Tabi and Tenes said, why does the skin become itchy? Is there anything we can use to combat that? And how do you break that itch and scratch cycle? It sounds like there's a problem here.
So itch is probably one of the most debilitating symptoms. And if you've been itchy or you've seen a dog that's itchy, you understand the problem. So itch in dry skin happens for a number of reasons. So the first one being that barrier that's impaired. So in the same way that our barrier then becomes leaky to water from the inside to outside, it becomes susceptible to penetration from any irritation or allergen from the outside. So anything that could potentially irritate the skin then penetrates our barrier. You lose that kind of defensive barrier function, and that triggers off a process of inflammation in the skin. As our skin becomes more inflamed, it releases inflammatory cells, which we call cytokines, but also things like histamine, which people may have heard of. And these mediators then stimulate your nerve cells or your nerve endings that sense itch. So you trigger that pathway. The nerve cells also become increasingly more sensitive, so heightened to stimulation. And with that break in the barrier, I always explain the nerve cells actually kind of stick out a little bit or become directly in contact with the environment. And that's why things like change in your environment, change in temperature, clothing, brushing against your skin becomes irritating, stimulates the itch. And then remember that itch has a psychological component. So the more we itch, we drive this urge to scratch. The more we scratch, we damage our barrier, and you trigger off that itch-scratch cycle that she's speaking of. And so actually to treat your itch, you need to break that cycle. So it's really important that we speak of, repairing our barrier, obviously as the first line, like we've already discussed. You can then also look after your external triggers, so be careful about fabrics, wearing loose clothing, non-irritative or acrylic fabrics. Regulate your temperature, keep your skin nice and cool, because we know that those same fibers that sense itch also sense heat. So when you get in the shower, it feels good initially and then starts itching. So be careful about temperature. Some people, recommend using antihistamine kind of lotions or tablets. If you've got underlying inflammation, we want to control that inflammation with a topical steroid or a calcineurin inhibitor. But then really important, it's about, the behavioral aspect of itch. And there's nothing more frustrating than someone who's itching being told not to itch, or not to scratch. But it really is about thinking, we often scratch when we're at a downtime when you're not thinking about anything. So when you're busy, you're not thinking about the fact that you're itchy, you're not scratching. So to try and do that kind of behavioral modification, keep your nails short, so if you are scratching, you're not damaging your skin.
Nice.
And
nice
the thing is, if you really are worried and you're not settling, you should seek help, because your itch, your dry skin could be a clue to an underlying condition, not just a symptom.
Brilliant, and a phenomenal answer as well. We have one more question. I've got so many more from the socials, but let's go to Eva Modise, who said, how can I differentiate between dry skin and eczema? What ingredients should I look for or avoid in skincare products if I have eczema or dry skin?
So I like this question because it really is a key principle.
Yeah.
Okay, so dry skin is a type of skin, but it can also be a symptom of an underlying condition like eczema.
There we go.
So dry skin, remember we've said, could be a barrier impairment. It can happen to all of us. You could be someone who naturally has a drier skin. Yes, and it can become severe with inflammation, redness, irritation. But it's important to remember that not everyone with dry skin has eczema, but everyone with eczema has got a percentage or a proportion of their skin that is dry, or a more tendency towards drier skin.
Yeah.
But when we're working in the realm of eczema, we're looking at your associated features. So it's not just dry skin. We're wanting to know, do you have a family history of eczema? Do you have asthma? Do you have allergic rhinitis? Then we're looking at the pattern of your dryness. Is there a specific pattern? We know that eczema tends to occur in your skin folds more commonly. And then we're looking, are there associated features that are happening with your dry skin? So do you have that keratosis pilaris or chicken skin? Do you have features in your face of, we see darkening around the eyes,
Yes.
we see increased skin markings on your hands. So it's a bit more of looking at the associated features, the things that are happening with the dry skin, than just saying you have eczema because you have dry skin. Yeah. But I think if the take-home message really is, do what you can to look after your skin, to protect your skin. So avoid fragrances, avoid harsh washes, things that are stripping your barrier. Do the best that you can to replace your barrier, repair your barrier, moisturize your skin. But if it's not getting better, if you're battling with inflammation, if you're thinking that there could be these other things at play, and your dry skin is more part of a diagnosis, it's important to see someone to make that diagnosis to optimize your control.
You've been amazing. Honestly, we've had 3 incredible questions, amazing answers from you, Doctor, and I really appreciate you being here today. And thank you. I think, in short, look after your barrier. You need to do that. Winter can be cruel, and a very cruel time for your skin, so do remember, even the coldest weather can't freeze your self-care routine. And thanks to AVEENO, you are sorted for the remainder of the winter season.
Your skin is thirsty for natural oils and moisture. With soothing triple oat complex, oat flour hydrates. Oat oil boosts ceramide levels and locks in moisture. Oat extract soothes itchy skin. AVEENO Skin Relief Moisturizing Lotion.